Yeah, good day, gents, and welcome to another episode of RoadFS Detail Memoirs. We have Jose Vega in house with The Bomb Detailing. I'm Jody Cedric.
And I'm Rob Cusey, and we're always sponsored by RoadFS. I want to remind everyone about our Buff and Shine RoadFS giveaway for free software and pads. Check your social media out there today. You're going to see the unboxing by last month's winner. You could be this month's winner, and you kind of get an idea when you see the unboxing of the amount of pads we're giving away. So get out there, post about RoadFS, post about Buff and Shine Manufacturing, and put some hashtags in there for Buff and Shine Manufacturing, RoadFS, and Reflection Artist, and go to all your social media outlets, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you're in. You're in the bowl.
You're in the bowl. Yep, you dropped the bomb on me, baby. We're with Jose Vega. Got the disco going. Too bad I don't have the disco lights, but I'm like, you know what? With the name like the Bomb Detail and that killer logo, I'm like, we gotta have an intro for this guy. So we're super excited to have you. Good morning to you.
Good morning, guys.
So let's talk about you, man. How did you get started in detailing? I mean, you were the true, like at the beginning stages of building your business. You're out there attending events, trying to learn and grow, and obviously we can see you're in your garage. So we're like, all right, let's talk to Jose and let's talk about how he started his business, man.
Well, honestly, I started my business. I've always kind of had a passion for cars, for vehicles. I used to work growing up, work on cars with my buddies. You know, every time something broke down, I'd be the first one to volunteer to dive in with them, like, let's tear it apart. But I always love the intricacies of detailing. You know, my own vehicles. It would always take me 3-4 hours to detail a vehicle because I'm meticulous, just going through everything. And slowly but surely, as I did it, other people, you know, were asking like, hey, do you do that? Can you do mine? So a joke, you know, like, hey, mine's next, literally started to turn into a business. And I wanted to grow for myself. I wanted to get my own business going. So that was my main fuel behind me, you know. And luckily, to tell you the truth, I started with one of those little, like 3 horsepower shop vacs. That's what I literally used to vacuum cars with. So to start from there to where I'm at now in this year has come fast, and I'm blessed to be here. I really am.
No, that's awesome, man. So, yeah, I think we're getting a little bit of an echo. I'm gonna adjust one little setting right here. Let me do this real quick. Yeah, I think we're good. So, anyway, well, man, that's so. You know what? I think that's. I love the idea that you started with a 3 horsepower shop vac, right? Because I think a lot of guys, when they start their business, they think that they have to have the van and all of the polishers, and they have to have, you know, water systems, and they have to be able to be truly mobile. And you know what? Even Rennie Doyle said he started out with a hose sprayer.
You get a wagon, and you would go down to the airport and do airplanes and stuff out of a little red radio flyer wagon. So, it's awesome to have those what you're going to call humble beginnings. And, you know, for most people, when they look back after 5-10 years or whatever, they actually have a greater appreciation for where they are because of where they started, you know, and it keeps you humble.
It's so funny because a lot of people in town, I come from a small town. To understand Coalinga, we're about 16,000 big, and we have 2 prisons that I'm pretty sure they count as our residents.
I mean, they should be considered permanent. You know, they're not going anywhere.
Right. Yeah, pretty much. But in my small town, I started, when I was doing interiors, a lot of people would come to me like, hey, you know, I heard you're really good with interiors. And I literally started doing interiors with, just like how Rennie was doing it the other day, with a brush, with some microfiber towels, and a little bit of stain remover. You know, and my arsenal for what it is has grown, but you're absolutely right. I even right now have people that'll come to me and say, hey man, like, where'd you get that vacuum? You know, I have a mighty 8070 that I use to do my extractions with. And I've had guys that start and the first thing they did was went and bought one of those, and I was like, I don't think you need that yet. And I always try and give the best advice. I was raised, by first of all, my mother, my father, all they ever did was teach me to work. So that's a big reason why I can't stop working. My wife always tells me, she's like, you can't find a reason to sit down. With detailing, as you guys know, it's hard. Like once you dive into it, it's just the results fuel you. I actually woke up this morning and did a deep cleaning on the interior, and the results. I mean, I'll post pictures later on my Instagram, but that's what gets you going. Those results, they just.
Yeah, and it's real similar. I think a lot of people, myself included, Jody included, your parents showing you the work ethic, and that's my wife says the same thing to me. She's like, I'm going to tell you to sit down. I know you're not going to, but go ahead and. But I think that's part of what fuels a lot of people's passion that are business owners, not just detailing, but any business at all, is that drive for. Not that it's an unhealthy balance, right? I mean, I don't want to give the wrong impression that I never spend time with my kids or do anything like that. But when you're working, you're working. When I play, and when I work. And so you just, you get in that mode and you go and do it and make sure that it's right.
Well, one of the things that was cool is before you came on to the show today, you were actually wrestling with helping your daughter with school, right? And especially
getting the Zoom set up.
Especially given the current environment with COVID and kids at home, and a lot of us are working at home and trying to balance. Right, I got to help my kid on Zoom in her class or her homework. And because I was doing the same thing yesterday with Jessica, and so I totally get it. So.
Yeah, I have 3 daughters. My youngest is currently in 1st grade. My middle child is in 5th grade, and my oldest is in 6th grade. And that juggle sometimes is hard because I detail out of my garage, out of my house right now, and people will bring me the vehicles. Luckily, when they bring them to me, lately I've told them, hey, give me about 2-3 hours, depending on the size of the job. And I always try and leave 30 minutes in there for those pauses for, hey, Dad, I got this homework question. So I try and stay involved. And right now, it's been a blessing to be able to work from home, stay busy, and while still helping them, which, by the way, I don't know if it's my age, but I don't remember math being that hard when I was in school.
It's my wife and I have certain subjects, and my kids know if it's this subject you go to Dad, if it's this subject you go to Mom, and I've got 3 daughters as well. 2 of them are actually in high school, and it's insane. My one daughter will come to me and I'm like, nope, that's not me. That's going to be your mom. So.
Yeah, my kids know not to bring math to Dad. I helped one time with my daughter, and she's like, Dad, I did worse with your help than myself. I'm like, well, come to me for history and science. I got you.
I've had that. So I'm really good with numbers, but you know how when you become good at something, you're just breakdown and the work, showing your work. I'm horrible at showing the work. My wife and my daughters will be like, hey, what's the answer to this? And I'll give them the answer, the number. But how'd you get there? I don't know. I know that's the answer.
Experience.
I just know things, okay? I make money and I know things. That's what I do.
Yeah, that's literally it.
So as you've started out in your garage, what have been some of the key things that have really helped you grow your business?
You know what? Education, ongoing education is one of the biggest things. And what I love about what's helped me go this far is, like, I go to a place in LA in Stanton area called RoadFS Detail. They're the ones who hold the classes that I go to. And I live in Killeen, so it's about a 3.5 hour drive that I take. And I've taken it, since those classes, I've taken 1 trip a month just to go there. That's where I got my ceramic certification, where my color sanding and polishing certification. And that's actually where I went to go meet Rennie for an open house last week and just talk to him, and being able to talk to people like that. But not just in the class, it's those who I meet that I can bounce ideas off. We deal with different environments, different cars. I've met guys that work out of Fontana, work out of San Bernardino areas, like real hot areas. And Kalinga, we get up there. So having people to ask the question, to be able to learn, to grow. And even in my own small town, in my small town of Kalinga, since COVID hit, there's been quite a few detailers that popped up. And so, some of them, it's a difference in generations. The guys that are up there in my age that do this, they're real quick to bounce ideas, conversations, help each other, educate. Sometimes the younger generation is more like, I can't tell him how to do this because then he's going to know and then I lose it. Like, I was always taught everybody could eat. At my table, everybody eats. It's the way it is. If there's 16,000 people in my town, unless 16,000 people are getting their cars washed, we're not doing enough.
Right. That's the thing is that it's kind of that rising tide raises all ships mentality, and that's one of the things I actually like about the detailing industry in the last several years, is that it's not so cutthroat in a lot of cases. There's a lot more people helping out, and we were talking with some people out of Utah last week, and they actually will share shops. One guy's got a shop and another guy's mobile, and the mobile guy will have a ceramic coating and he doesn't want to do it outside, so the guy with the shop will actually loan him his shop to come in and do a ceramic coating, and then they work on jobs together, and I think that's awesome. I mean, if you can think about how that would seem very, very like not doable. Oh my gosh, if I give Jody my shop, then all of a sudden, he's going to take clients away from me. But it's absolutely the opposite.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Actually, the interior that I did this morning, it was a friend of mine who details. He's like me. He's like, look, you have the extractor. I don't need it. But when I have a job that needs extracting, I'll do everything else, bring it to you. So I literally brought a pristine car that all I've got to do is get extracted. So I'll break out my drills, my solutions, and just attack it. And it's an easy job for me to do. But being able to share that with him, he makes his money, I help him out, and we bounce off of each other. He's been, my friend Jesse's been one of the greatest guys in this process so far, to tell you the truth. When it comes to team effort, he's definitely one of the guys that I bounce a lot of my information off of. Especially when it comes to polishing. Here in my town, there's not a lot of people who dive into the polishing aspects of it. I'm very meticulous, especially a lot of detailers I know are OCD. Polishing sometimes could be your enemy, especially polishing black cars. I always make the joke that as soon as someone tells me that their car's black, the price is $5,000.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's kind of the I don't want to say the downfall, but that's one of the really hard things I think for most detailers to overcome is that OCD and look at it and say, okay, this client brought in a black car, but they brought it in for an interior clean and just an outside, let's say a single stage detail. They did not come in for a complete wet sand and 3-stage correction and ceramic coating. And your mentality, you go, but it's not perfect. But it's not perfect. And you got to remember, you're meeting expectations. You're not trying to perfect everything. When Jody and I serve on the Air Force One detailing team, and we're reminded constantly that it's not perfection, it's preservation. We're trying to preserve what these things look like. We're not trying to make them perfect because, you imagine taking a 747 and trying to make it perfect, and you got 6 days, you don't have enough time. So
yeah, there's really not.
I think that's key to a business owner, especially in any business, but in detailing especially. It's meet your customers' expectations, exceed their expectations, but don't put your own OCD into the future when you don't have to.
No, it really does. I mean, it gets you as far as time management. Our profit lies in how we can manage our time for our job. I've got some jobs dialed in for, a lot of people that want to get the bigger jobs. I always tell them, start with just a full service detail so we can go over the vehicle. Cause I learned the hard way, guys. Someone bought me one of my first, I think it was like my second or third job for polishing. The guy brought me the car. He's like, look, I want it polished. I want this and that, just a 1-stage polish. And I was like, this, I explained to him what we would be able to take out, what we wouldn't, but the car was dirty. So then I washed the car, and oh my God, when I washed the car, I shot myself in the foot, but I knew that's one of those that there's lessons in detailing where you have to eat them. I've learned to not quote interior deep cleans without looking at it. So there's people have brought me some amazing stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's all three of my daughters. I'm very adamant about them learning how to take care of their own cars and everything. And so all three of my daughters, when they've each gotten a car, I've taken them out and I've shown them how to wash it by hand. And I said, okay, this is what you're going to do. And every single one of them will pick out flaws. Oh my gosh, there's a scratch over here. Oh my gosh, I didn't even know this had a thing. What? And I said, that's why I had you do that, because you learn your car. You know where all the imperfections are, and then you can make a decision about whether that's something you want to go after and fix or not. But you've got to wash it. You've got to have your hands on every square inch of it to learn the car itself.
You really do, because as you guys know, there's times, I mean, I've had people bring me cars that were dirty, and I wash them, and they're like, I don't remember that scratch there. But thankfully, I do have a habit of either when I pick up the car or when the car's dropped off to me, I always do it before. I like those before and after videos, but they're not just for the views. They're for, so when we look at it, hey, this is exactly what you bought me, you know? I've had white paint show up on the side of a truck one time, and the guy was like, he's like, I didn't have that, when I dropped it off. I said, there's nothing in my backyard that's white that would touch it, that would leave it, so. And I always try and address the situation. So I work at a restaurant as a manager also, so I know how to deal with guest complaints and clients and things like that. So I always stay ready. They might be upset. If I know I can fix it, I'll try and fix it and address it. But I try to make sure that people don't take advantage, because there'll always be people, even in this industry. I've had, my friends have dealt with it where they'll go above and beyond on the job, and people are like, well, you didn't do this, and they don't understand that they didn't ask for that. Like you said, our OCD will take over sometimes, but what they expect and the definition of a full service detail, not everybody understands.
Yeah, and I think that's important. So a couple things there. One is, I think that's one of the reasons I'll put in a plug for our software is that's one of the reasons we have photos in there. Is before and after photos are super important, because if you can't, no matter what industry you're in, you're the last one that touched it. You did it, right? I mean, it doesn't matter if they scraped against the pole at the gas station 5 minutes ago. They bring the car to you. As soon as you touch it, it's your fault, right? So people have to be able to make sure of those. And the other comment was, you don't know what you get until you get the opportunity to do those before and afters. We were actually, Jody and I were at a training in Utah on ceramic coating, getting certified on DNS Inspiration ceramic coating. And the car that we used was a less than 1 year old rental car. And when it came in, we noticed, I saw a sag in the paint. And I immediately said, this is a repaint. And we started doing a gauge. And literally, it was all over the board. 2 mils, 7 mils, 9 mils. We're like, whoa, this thing's got all kinds of body work on it. So we were a lot more careful with it than you should. And that's important to know, that if the owner doesn't know that you point that out. Did you know this car's been repainted? And this is how I know. There's a spot up here on the trim, or here's a sag in the paint, or you can see overspray on the bolts and nuts, or whatever the pieces are. But I think that's really important to note that down. So especially the next time you get that vehicle in, the hood's been repainted. I can't go into a real heavy polish on it.
Yeah. That's actually, it's a good point that you brought up about your software, because I've been researching it, and I'm soon here in the next month or so, hopefully, I'm going to dive into your software, because I need that. Like everything I've always thought in my mind, this would be great, this would be great, this would be great. And then, when you think like, I had a great idea, and then I started reading about your software, and I'm like, damn it, they already got it.
Well, you know what? The fun thing about it is, it's guys like you that have said, hey, Jody and Rod, can we do photo capture? And because photo capture is a brand new thing this year. And so we're like, all right, yeah, we can add it. If it's important to you, we're going to add it into the software. So that's been really fun, because we've really been driven by what detailers and auto recon professionals and auto guys need. And it's been really fun to go, all right, how do you really want that to work? And how's that going to help you not only drive more business, but also protect yourself as a business owner? Because I think a lot of men and women that are professionals, they want to do the before and after shots because it's sexy, right? Like, look, this is what I did. But that CYA component of covering yourself is really, really important, you know, documenting the before and after so that you don't get yourself into a difficult situation because, you know, like you were pointing out, you're inevitably going to get that unhappy customer.
Yeah.
Right? And having the information to go, well, this is how the car came in. These are the things that I did. It gives you a foundation to nullify those concerns and those fears and say, look, this is something that happened outside of my realm, but I'm more than happy to help you, right? So it gives you an opportunity to serve the customer without getting embattled into, you know, an argument about who did what and who didn't do what.
No, that's absolutely right. Because, like you pointed out, trying to not, you know, bump heads, and you know, we don't. Especially when you take pride in a business, you take pride in what you do. When someone says, "Hey, you did this," it's like almost like a shot in the heart. Like, I did it, but I can help that. You know, and those before and after pictures help. I love how you guys on your software. I was looking at, you guys have bin recognition, so that it's easier to pull it up. Those types of things I've learned when bringing back to customers. Something like that helps. Now me, I'm running off of my memory. You know, I take supplements from my memory because of that, to make sure, because there's times when people will bring me a car and I'm like, hey, last time you brought the car, it didn't have this, or it didn't look like that. And, you know, for the most part, people will sit there and be like, oh yeah. The funny one is like when the husband brings you the car and I'm like, hey, your car has this. Is that what my wife was talking about?
Yeah.
Or yeah, I was off-roading camping this weekend. Don't tell my wife.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I've been bought the cars by girls like, hey, I got this on my husband's car. Can you get this off? And it's just, you know, a simple little rubber paint or something. I'm like, sure. Like I'll polish it. I'll cut it down. Do what we need to do. And I always try not to bite off more than what I can chew. That's a big thing in this industry, that a lot of the guys that I see around me, and in my town, they make the mistake of saying, I can do X, Y, and Z. And I know for a fact it's like I know you're not ready for X, Y, and Z, so you gotta be careful. You can't, we all want to succeed, but to what extent do you want to sacrifice your name? Because in a town like ours, I mean, if you were in like an LA, or Fresno is the nearest biggest city to us, you can almost do a car on the other side of Fresno and maybe not see those people for a year or ever again, you know, depending on what side you're mainly operating out of. But in Kalinga, we're so small. I mean, to tell you guys that I can put gas, buy groceries, and go get fast food for dinner in all of 30 minutes, that's literally how small my town is.
Yeah.
We have all of 3 stoplights.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's important because you make a name for yourself in that town, and even if it's something, somebody brings you this horrible car, right? I mean, I went mud bogging with the windows open type of a car. As long as you're being upfront and honest with that customer and you're saying, hey, I can try to get that out. I'm going to do my best to get it out. I can't guarantee you I'm going to get all of the ground out road tar out of those cream colored floor mats that you've been grinding into for a month and a half, but I'm going to do my best. Here, let me do a test spot and I'll send you a picture of what I did, and then we can talk about what I can do with the rest of it. You're so much better off under promising and over delivering than doing the other way around. I think we all want to please our customers so much. Oh, we can do that, we can do that, we can do that. But you don't think about the fact that when you say that, there's an expectation you've set. You know, if you say, I'll do my best to do that and I'll show you, and you just work with them along the way, then that's the best you can do. We got Jody's got a red boat that's completely oxidized, and we're going to do some videos on it. And we're going to see if we can do some test spots and see how well we can do. And we've actually talked to a lot of detailers about it, and it's interesting. And even the circles we run into, when we see thousands of detailers all the time, some people will be like, oh, I can get that out, I can get that out. And I'm like, you've never even seen it. You don't even, I mean, they've literally never even seen
Especially
pictures
the back end of the boat.
back end of the boat is white. It's not even red anymore. It's pink. I mean, so, I've never said anything to them, but I'm like, yeah, you guys really need to see what it is because, you know, again, it's just like anything you're polishing. It's a different animal. It's gel coat. They don't know how many years it's been sitting in the sun. I got a boat, and the boat trailer on mine, it was parked in the same location for several years. One side of the boat trailer is completely oxidized off, and the other side is not. So you're not going to get the same when you're done, and you're not going to get the same what you see. So
you're not.
So what are a couple key things that you've learned over the years in building your business that you think are very helpful for other detailed business owners to know?
One of the biggest things always going to be is your customer rapport. You know, working in the restaurant, working on cars, it's your client and your customers. The rapport that you build with them, the care that you show them for their vehicle. You know, everybody's vehicle that I do comes and I treat it like it's my own. Everything from a Nissan Versa to a Range Rover I did yesterday. You know, they're all going to get the same treatment. I don't care if you pay $2,000 or $200,000 for your car. You have to treat everybody's car with compassion, with love, because you don't know how hard they worked for that car. We could sit here and look at a beater, and I know I had a guy that his dad buys cars from junkyards and fixes them up, and he needed a little commuter, and he bought him one, and he's like, hey, this car's kind of rough. You know, if I bring it to you, what can I do? I said, bring it to me, and then we'll get together and let's see what we can do to it. And I reset his entire interior, everything short of taking out the seats. But customer rapport is going to be one big thing. You know, without that, you're not going to have your customers coming back. You know, every customer, I learned this at a job I worked a long time ago. One customer is worth $1 million. Mm-hmm. That's the mindset you have to take, because if I do good for him, he's going to tell two others. They're going to tell two others, and it's going to keep on ballooning. Secondly, would be brand marketing. I know you guys said about my logo. That I'm at a point right now, and I'm lucky enough to be at this point. When people see this logo, they think of me. You know, I used to have the name written all over it, under it, everywhere I went, but now I don't have to. They see that little hydro bomb, and they know that that's me. They know that their car went to me. You know, I like to give out little stickers with people, but brand recognition, brand marketing, knowing who you are, knowing the face of the business, being able to talk to people. A lot of sometimes when you start a business, you get kind of ashamed or shy, and I don't want to. Hey, being able to see somebody with a paint job on a car and, you know, approaching them the right way. Not everybody's gonna want to hear like, hey, like your paint's bad, but I can fix that. It's just, hey, you ever had somebody work on your car? Hey, man, like, there's some things that we can do to this paint to just make it look absolutely amazing. And they see that, those little things, those conversations started, knowing the little intricacies of how to take an approach to it. Hey, oh, you spilled coffee? Hey, man, you should bring that by. You know, I can hit that, and then when we do that, we can take care of the whole car. Those little conversations have gotten me the full job, you know. A simple car wash, you know, when I first started, a simple $45, $50 detail that I did on a car has turned into a $400 ceramic coat, $500, you know, polish job on different vehicles. So those are going to be key components. You know, brand recognition, your customer rapport, your client rapport, and keeping people informed. You know, I live in a glass house as far as my detailing business. If you want to know what I use on your car, I'm educated enough to tell you, so that I'm not just rambling on about, hey, why do you have, you know, carpet bomber for upholstery, or why do you have an extraction solution, you know, for your machine, you know, those type of things. Because sometimes people look at a solution and they automatically think that's going to destroy my fabric.
Yeah, giving them that knowledge behind it and the training and everything, I think that's really key, because we talk about this a lot. There's a difference between being confident and being cocky. And the confidence to say these are the chemicals that I use, this is why I use them. These are the chemicals I won't use, and this is why. Yeah. And the reason I use an extractor is for this, and, you know, getting the water out. That's a confidence thing. Whereas somebody that's cocky, that's the person that comes in there and, I can guarantee you I can get that car looking 200% better. And you're like, okay, there's a big difference there. And people like confidence. They like you to be confident about what you can do and then show them, right? You just go show them what you can do.
Yeah, the results speak volumes more than any word that I could say. Even at a point to where, again, when in a small town like this, the community, you'll hear across town news very quickly. I do ceramic coats. I'm certified through Inspirations, all that. I use Inspiration Soul. I use View. I use their 3-year coating. I got all that dialed in. And there's guys that are doing the spray graphene here in town, and those people tell me like, hey, like so and so will do a whole polish and a 3-year ceramic coat with graphene for $100. And I never knock nobody. It's like, hey, if that's the route you want to take, go ahead. Like, these are my prices. I do. Randy said it the other day too. I actually don't advertise myself on Facebook. Facebook is a lot of shopping around, a lot of undercutting. Like, hey, I need this, and people put, hey, I need an interior done on my car, and they want to see who's going to battle for it. I'm blessed enough to stay busy that I don't need to shop around my price. My value is in what I deliver to you. I can't undercut myself.
Yeah, that's good.
Exactly.
Well, man, we really appreciate you taking the time to visit with us. So how do people in your neck of the woods find you? But also, I think, looking at your Instagram, other detailers and business owners would be good to visit it. So how do people find you?
They can find me through my Instagram, which is going to be my bomb detail, at bomb detail. I should say bomb_detail.
Yep.
And then also it would be just my cell phone number, my business. They can give me a call. It's on my page. Instagram is where I drive most of my business through right now. And then hopefully soon I'll get my website going and get all that stuff so I can start, getting people to schedule themselves and get in the calendar and everything like that.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. Well, thanks a lot. We really appreciate you coming on. I mean, I didn't know that you and I were twins, but like strong work ethic, 3 daughters, devilishly good looking, nice facial hair, I mean, we're like twins, So anyway, we really do appreciate you coming on the show. It's been awesome talking to you. I'm sure we'll talk to you in the future. And next time we're out in California, we'll have to look you up and come out and see you.
Well, thank you so much, man.
I lost you right here at the last second.
Oh, that's okay. We're just we're hoping that when we get to California, we can swing by and see you sometime. So, but thank you so much for taking the time to visit with us, and for those of you who are tuning in, make sure you go out to our YouTube channel, and because we post these here, so make sure to subscribe, review, and we also put them on podcast. So if you're not looking for us, you can find us because we're everywhere.
No. I was watching you guys' YouTube channel too. So, and actually, I just switched my name on YouTube, thinking about that, to Bomb Detail. So
that's awesome.
I have my Instagram. I do my YouTube. I want to put some videos on YouTube. We'll see how that goes. I'm not as good at videography as I would like to be, but hopefully I'll get there.
Hey, you know what? You just start and you learn, right? Yep. I mean, I was looking back at some of our first episodes of RoadFS Detail Memoirs, and they needed some improvement, and now we have our own booth, and it's just, little by little, putting yourself out there, saying, I'm going to do this, and before you know it, you wake up and you're having an impact, and it's one day, one person at a time that you grow your business. So
absolutely, and hopefully next year I have another meeting with you guys, and I'll be mobile, I'll be bigger, I'll be in the shop. I have goals, but slowly but surely,
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Well, thank you for joining us, man. You have a fantastic day.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yep, we'll see everybody next Thursday at the same time.
Same bad channel. See ya!
Bye.